On, folks, hope your day is going well. I've been doing some yard work today, so I'm up here trying to get a new blade on for the weed whacker. I broke something, but I want to take a few minutes because I enjoy this time getting to talk to you guys. And I think today we're going to talk about something really serious about narcissism in general, as it applies to the human population. We're going to break down how narcissism, because I was out here thinking this morning, how narcissism affects the human condition on many levels. All right, so, we'll get right into this because, I was looking at, yesterday I was watching a video testimony. It was related to something about narcissists in the workplace, and there was a guy talking about, the things that his boss would do as far as like his promotions. I had done previous videos about this, so it was really interesting for me to learn more about what another person, in this world is experiencing in a narcissistic workplace environment. So the prospect of a crazy, freaking batshit boss, right? And that breaks down into several things. First of all, you want to talk about the hard economy, right? You want to talk about, because see, this guy was talking about all of this stuff that he couldn't afford, how he had to diminish some of his quality of life. He had to, he had to cut off, certain things in the house and stuff and save up money. And that was because he didn't know how many days he had left on his job. His days were numbered. And this is one of the games. I always talk about this, folks, about how the narcissistic boss could do this for 20 years at your jobs until you drop dead or until you quit, because that's the game. The game is to get you to submit or to just break you down. And then when you're really strong, there is no submission, right? So the only other alternative for this victory to occur for the narcissist would be to just get rid of you, have you jump off a bridge, or you quit your job, you become, you can't pay your bills, you end up homeless somewhere, and they run into you in the town square somewhere and give you some change. That's their ultimate fantasy, folks, for your lives. So a hard economy, let's talk about that. And, based on what this guy was talking about, because I got to go on, get in the store. But, the thing is that in a hard economy, you find yourselves in a position where you're working every day. You guys are good people. So you go to work dutifully. That's that word I like to use. Dutifully means that, you're going to work with an intent purpose to make a living, to support your families. You may have some goals and dreams and aspirations in life that you want to secure. And this job is merely a vehicle or a means to secure that. You're not wrapping your whole life in this job. Sometimes these jobs are dead end. So you're not giving your whole entire lives to these jobs. But what you're doing is you're trying to make a decent living, right? And so you expect reasonably when you get that job, when you got employed, when they hired you, that you were going to give them your best effort, right? And over a certain period of time, you do evaluations and performance, reviews and certain things. And if you met those standards, then you be awarded more money because of what you're doing for the company, right? And that's how it should work in a decently run business. Should work like that. The proper people should be promoted. The more competence should be on top. But it's never like that in a narcissistic workplace environment, because the narcissists, the loser lots, have figured out a way to become the superiors in these situations. So they're going to only recruit their flunkies and people, with the lowest aspirations, because they can control these people. Someone with power, someone with a great mind, ambition or something. These people could go on to do great things, and they don't want to do that. That's the last thing they want to see. So in this hard economy, you'll find yourselves earning, less than you should. Every quarter, I already talked to you guys about these Robin Hood schemes that these jobs like to play, where they steal money and bonuses from the hard-working employees, and they enrich themselves with that money. Okay, they're making $100,000 a year. They're going to consistently steal from you guys, and they're going to make 120, 130, 140. You see what I'm saying? And this is going to go on until they enrich themselves, until they're fucking super wealthy off of your backs. And you'll find yourselves getting nickel raises, right? And these are not, because you have to understand inflation is something that, that in this narcissistically driven world, inflation is one of those bullshit things that they throw in there. And the price of things go up and so forth. And so you have to survive to meet the cost of living, right? But if your job is not appropriately paying you your appropriate raises, right? You've been there for 20 years or whatever, and you're only making the bare minimum, see? And you had gotten complacent with that, but the hard cold fact, folks, in this world, you can talk all the shit you want about what you can do and what your options are. It's really about who you know. And you could be the best person with the best intentions, but you can go into these workplaces and find yourselves not getting a fair shake. And it's just how it works. And if you get into a narcissistic environment, it may not be so easy to just exit that environment. That's why I talk about this exit plan, folks. It's not so easy for you to just walk out the door when you got bills to pay, right? You got children to feed, see? And they will use that, they will hold that over your head, knowing that, you have to meet those standards. But they're not going to pay you anything, right? Because they need to keep you a slave, and this is their entertainment. But you have to stay strong, folks. You're going to have to save money. You're going to have to cut corners in life. You're going to have to do certain things to try to save up your money. And then that way you'll be empowered to make decisions, and you can walk out of these jobs. And if you have a secure, bank account, then that's totally possible. So they're going to try to do things to make sure that never happens. So you're going to get your nickel raises. You're going to get your bad performance reviews, even though you're the one who's holding down the weight and pulling the weight and holding down the fort for everyone else at your job. The bosses will not see that. And if they do see it, that's going to be more the reason for them to not pay you what you should, because that's the game. See, you're the target for that reason. So in a hard economy, because this is a cold world, everyone wants money for everything, for the fucking water you drink, right? You flush the toilet, you got to pay for that. And that's the greedy world that we live in, full of narcissists and selfish bastards, right? The same people who are your employers in most cases, or your supervisors, right? Little leaguers of that same ilk who wanna be on that level one day. So they have these same mindsets, folks. And the economy is one of the main things that will really cripple you, because if you can't pay your bills, you can't function properly in this world. And so that's one of the ways that narcissism really affects a person, right? When they're at work, that's why I talk about the workplace a lot, because the workplace is where 99.9% of these folks out here in the world have to go make a living. If they have a business, you're still going to work. You're still there manning the fort, see? And you have to understand that that's how you're surviving in this world, right? You don't have a silver spoon. You didn't have $1 billion left to you or something in some will. So you have to work. And because of that dynamic of you having to be the slave to this job or do a service in exchange for monies, you will deal with all of the people who hold those cards and dangle them over your head about how much you're going to get paid and so forth, and when that's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. No matter what your ambitions are, no matter how well you want to work or how hard, they're going to do what they want. And that is how narcissists in the workplace break you down. Okay? I kind of jumped around a little bit, but I'm going to get into the second aspect, is what I believe how narcissism affects the human condition would be in your childhoods. And that breaks down into several other things, into that one thing, which is childhood traumas. Your childhood traumas, right? The things that condition you, the impressionating things in your lives that make you who you are today. Now, because when you're a baby, you have no way of taking care of yourself, no means or anything of survival other than your parents. If they're narcissists, they're going to withhold certain things from the womb, from you, your birth. And you're going to grow up in that environment, right? And it's going to affect you psychologically. Many of you will say, well, I'm okay, but you're not. And this is why we see the anal retentive nature that you have, and you don't even know you have it, because you were raised by narcissists. Okay? So parental is one of those main components to the childhood trauma, right? In some cases, I have had childhood friends who were abused. And, you know, just imagine going to school with this person and seeing them come to school with whelps and telling you horror stories about how they were choked or put in the attic or beaten so badly they had to be soaked in alcohol water or something, right? To hide the scars or something. Like, these are things that people actually have lived. Flowers in the attic, right? Y'all remember that old classic movie. You know, children are going through these things every day, right? And their lives are dependent on those parents. But if you don't notice this is happening, if you're not aware of the narcissist in the modern world, if you're not really connecting to the fact that these demons, because I've done videos on the demonic boss, I do believe myself, and you know, there's been some other big YouTubers or pretty situated YouTubers who have spoken on this same thing, right? Permission to Exist, she's spoken on several things about that, and I agree with her wholly. Because there's some other component of the soul, right, that is seized by something else, and these people are fighting every day, and most of them have already lost. Most of them have already submitted to this force, this dark force, and this is why you are tortured every day. Okay, and that's sad. But parental, you know, these child abuse situations where the parents are doing this, and the child is going to be shell shocked by the time they're adults. Also, the societal aspects of that childhood trauma, you know, your peers, right? The things that your narcissistic little narcissists in the making do on these playgrounds. Remember when I told you guys growing up, I realized I was a justice empath because I would constantly put my foot up another child's ass, right? And it wasn't because I was the bully, really. I got along with all my peers, and I loved all, you know, playing with them and everything, but there were certain children on that playground who would take other kids' toys, who would tease other children. And I felt it was my sworn fucking duty to knock the shit out of them in those cases, right? And something in me, deep in me, is why I am presently who I am. See, I was a justice fighter back then. I didn't even realize, right? And it was necessary. We need people like that in this world to combat these other forces. The problem is too many of you guys, which I say all of the time, is that too many of you guys are in the freaking middle, and you're just being hurted. Okay? So you don't know shit. You're just going to be a victim, or you're going to have to be saved. And we're tired of saving dumb motherfuckers, right? If I'm trying to tell you that the bridge is out and you still want to keep driving, drive the fuck off the bridge. That's where I'm going to these days, right? Because I'm tired of trying to beat it in the heads of people who want to believe that a demon can be an angel one day. That's the problem with you people. You're delusional. I mean, you know. All right, so what else? Relationship dysfunction, and that's another aspect of the problems which affect the human condition. With how narcissism, right? Relationship dysfunction. That relationship dysfunction can break down onto your workplace between you and your supervisors, right? Because of their stalking you and they're harassing you every day. They're bullying, right? And if you're a victim, you're letting these things happen. You're allowing them to overwork you. Just imagine, like I talked about earlier about these raises. Imagine someone working you. You know, you start work on Monday and you don't have a day off until maybe the next Thursday of the next week or something. This happens. This actually happens, folks. Now, remember, a lot of you may say, well, they're earning wages. They're getting overtime or something. They're not. See, with these games, the narcissistic boss will have you do that, but you're not going to get paid anything extra for it. So what's going to happen is you're going to be working extra, breaking your body down, but you're not going to see any kind of monetary reward for those efforts, right? So you'll get your paycheck and it'll be the same. And just imagine working until the next week because your boss gave you 3-hour schedule on one day or something and a 3-hour schedule on another day just to add up. So you just get that regular pay. But they had you there all week. They got to look at your face all week. You didn't have a day off to fucking do anything. Wash the clothes in your house or something, right? Wash your car or something. You notice that you're burnt out. They do these things, and you know, these relationships, these dysfunctional relationships, it could be a marriage, it could be a fucking dating situation, but you'll find yourself constantly in service of these people, and it will burn you the freak out. Totally. to the point you'll realize, hey man, I haven't even fucking washed my car this week. Something that I do all the time. Hey man, I haven't done this, or hey man, I haven't done that. You'll find that you haven't, paid your taxes, or you'll find that you're forgetting things, or your schedule's off. And you'll feel that draining feeling. Maybe you're drinking 5-hour energies and shit. You're trying to stock up on something because you need to continuously keep going to be in service to these people. So dysfunctional relationships are another component of what drains a target, right, and pulls them to this narcissistic web that they fight their way out of, and they get more fatigued trying to do that fight. Okay, and all of these things equal destruction of the healthy mind. That's what this concludes to, right? They all equal destruction of the healthy mind. I love bad behavior, folks. But what I like is people who can look at themselves as humans and look at how we all affect each other and realize that there's a problem out here in the world with these narcissists because they affect our lives in ways we don't understand. Well, we need to start paying attention to that. Our workplace, our relationships, how we were raised. Those 3 things. Like, share, subscribe to the videos. Pick up my book on Amazon, I Love Bad Behavior. Pick it up on my website, thinkbehavior.info. You guys have a great day. I'm going to go in here and get this blade. And we'll be talking soon. Y'all take care.